For this question, we're looking to increase the economy by $0.3 trillion. And we get that by very simply just taking the difference between where the economy is at now and where its potential is. In the first question, we have to use the spending multiplier because we're trying to figure out how much government spending needs to increase in order to, after the multiplier effect, increase the economy by 0.3 trillion. So we have a couple of equations. We have an equation for calculating the spending multiplier, and we have an equation for calculating the tax cut multiplier. So all we're going to do is, since we have two of the three pieces of information, we're going to plug those pieces of information into each equation and then solve for the remaining variable. So in the first instance, we have the spending multiplier, that's 2. The change in real GDP that we're looking for is 0.3, in this case $0.3 trillion. And the change in spending is what we're trying to find. And if you just do simple algebra, nothing fancy, you'll find that it's 0.15. Again, in this case, $0.15 trillion. We do the exact same process for the tax cut multiplier equation. And we get 1.6 is equal to 0.3 divided by x. Solving for x is 0.1875 trillion dollars in tax cuts. So we can either spend $0.15 trillion dollars, or we can cut taxes by $0.1875 trillion dollars. Now for the third part, they're asking you to create an example using a combination of both. Probably the easiest way to do this is to just take half of each, because if you take half of each, you're getting half the effect. And if you add those two halves together, you get the whole effect, which is $0.3 trillion more in economic output. So in that case, spending is half of the original amount, so it's $0.075 trillion. And tax cuts would be half of the original amount, which would be $0.09375 trillion.